Hey guys, great to have you here today. Today we're going to talk about 2 tips to absolutely crush your driver. And one of the questions I get all the time, I get asked this almost on a daily basis, is how much lag should we have with the driver? So we know if we're using an iron, for example, let's imagine that we're going to hit an iron off the ground. We're going to get some lag, and then we're going to have forward shaft lean and really compress that golf ball. So I'm coming in with some lag, I'm having forward shaft lean. Typically, pros are going to de-loft their irons about 30% of the natural loft. So let's say that your 6-iron has around 32 degrees of loft. They're going to de-loft that down to around 20, 21 degrees, somewhere around there at impact. So they're actually taking a lot of this loft off the club to get more energy to transfer into the golf ball. So we know we want to have lag. We know we want to have some forward shaft lean at contact with these irons. So with a pitching wedge, if it's normally 45 degrees pitching wedge, we're going to de-loft that to about 30. So again, about 30% of the normal loft on the club. So as we start to get to lower and lower lofted clubs, we're really not de-lofting them as much. So I get a good question all the time about the driver is, should I be de-lofting the driver at all? Should I have any forward shaft lean? So if I'm swinging, for example, here, I have an 8-degree driver. Probably could use a 9-degree. This one's a little bit older than the newer ones tend to launch a little lower spin. But if I'm de-lofting this, say 4 or 5 degrees, there's almost no loft on the ball. I want to get that ball to launch, you know, around 11, 10 to 14 degrees, somewhere in that range. If I'm going to do that, I can't really take all the loft off this driver. So we're going to talk about today, what's the difference between lag and forward shaft lean, and then when we're going to be getting rid of this with the driver. One of the keys to our top speed golf system, this is absolutely crucial. This is what I've studied a lot of amateur golf swings or mid to high handicap golf swings, I should say. There's a lot of great amateur players out there. But I've studied a lot of mid to high handicap golf swings, and I've studied a lot of tour player golf swings. And one thing that I've noticed big time with the driver is the stable fluid spine, or our angle of our spine at impact. If you look at the tour players, on average, their spine angle is going to be tilted away. And the way that I measure this, I go from the middle of the hips. If you're filming from face on, I find the center point of the hips just from the camera angle. I'm not using the belt buckle or anything like that. I'm just finding the middle of the hips, and I'm measuring up to the top of the shirt buttons or the middle of your sternum as you're at impact. And what I found from tour players is the average is like 20.86, so just about 20 degrees tilted away, meaning that their upper body is tilted away from the target. This is going to allow them to swing either level or slightly up on the ball. And the thing is here, when we think about forward shaft lean a lot of times, we're thinking about it as me being over top of the ball and hitting down. So if you look at my spine angle, if it's straight up and down, and I have, let's say, 20 degrees of forward shaft lean, as I get tilted away, well now I'm swinging level. My club has forward shaft lean in relationship to my body, but it doesn't have any forward shaft lean in relationship to the ball or relationship to the ground. So in reality, what we want to be doing with the driver, that's making it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. What we need to realize with the driver is we want to be tilted away. What we call our compression line is our left ankle, our left hip, our left shoulder need to be slightly tilted away at impact with the driver. Our spine needs to be tilted away with the driver. And then that's going to put us in a position where we can rotate through that shot really well. We can get a lot of speed, but we can also get some lag in the downswing. We're letting go of that lag mostly as we get to contact, so that shaft is going to be pretty much straight up and down, and then we're still getting that same straight line release point out in front. So if you look at it, this driver, as it's 45 degrees in front, now that club is splitting my forearms. So even with the driver, I'm getting a bunch of lag. I'm on the way to releasing that lag, and I'm releasing it on out in front. So I have some forward shaft lean at impact in relationship to my body because it's still releasing out in front in that direction. But if you're looking at it from the ground standpoint or from the ball standpoint, that driver shaft's pretty much going to be straight up and down. So we want to get tons of lag. We want to release it to the exact same straight line release point that we do with an iron shot, whether it's a pitching wedge or a driver. We're going to be going all the way out there to release the club. The only difference is we're releasing a little bit earlier with the driver to allow it to still have a good amount of loft. So with a pitching wedge, we're going to be tilted forward at impact about 15 degrees. With a driver, we're going to be pretty much straight up and down. So we are releasing the driver a little bit earlier, and that's the only difference there. Most of the time I found that you won't even have to think about that. So you're just going up here and swinging, you're going to release that forward shaft lean naturally, and all I want to focus on is making sure that I'm tilted back, making sure that I get good lag and that I release it to my straight line release point. If I can get those three things correct, then the driver is going to take care of itself. We're going to be able to rip the ball. There we go. Hit that one nice and straight right down the middle. I'll show you one of those in slow motion so you can see the angles of the wrist and how that releases. All right, so I hope y'all really enjoyed this video. If you did, I got an awesome bonus for you. Now, one of the most important things we can do in golf, and let's face it, we all want to crank the ball. We want to hit it hard with a lot of power. That's probably the #1 thing to improving your golf game that I found. And the best thing to do to improve your speed, your power, is to get a lot more lag in the downswing. So I got a great bonus for you. One of the #1 mistakes that I see people make that is really killing their lag. I'm going to play a preview of that video. If you want to watch the full thing, all you have to do, if you're on a desktop device, you're on a computer, go ahead and click the link that pops up on your screen. That'll get you instant access to that full video, plus 5 bonus videos from our Top Speed Golf system. It's going to walk you through the entire system. And then if you're on a mobile device, a tablet, you're going to go ahead and click on the iCard that's somewhere on the screen right now. Go ahead and click that iCard, click that link. It's going to get you instant access, and I'll see you all in the lag video. Hi guys, and welcome back. I'm Clay Ballard, and in today's video we're going to talk about one of the absolute worst drills for creating lag. It's a very common drill that I see. And in this drill, what we're going to do is we're going to set the wrist very early to create an angle of lag, and then we're going to try to hold this throughout the swing. It's one of the worst things that you can do to build lag. I'm going to talk about the science behind why this is the case, and I'm also going to give you a great drill to help you improve your lag, all in this video. Let's go ahead and get started. If I do it this way versus holding that position, exact same thing happens when we're building the lag in the golf swing. So what we want to do is throughout the swing, I want to have a very low and wide takeaway. So I'm not going to set my wrist early at all. If you look at a lot of the top players, you look at Adam Scott, very wide takeaway, not very much wrist set at all. You look at Rory McIlroy, you look at Tiger Woods. All these players are using a wide takeaway and not getting very much wrist set, so that later in the swing, as we start down, we can increase this wrist set, and we're really only going to max out this angle of lag for a split second in the downswing. Okay, so a 3-step drill here. Now, as we get started with this, I want to remind you that the fulcrum in this golf club for getting a massive amount of lag is right at the end of the golf club. This is where I want my hinge point to be.